2,
2,
3.
Tots TV. I'm a tot.
Je suis une Tots TV.
Tom.
Tiny.
We're the Tots on Tots TV.
1, 2, 3, boom.
I'm a tot.
Je suis une Tots TV.
Tom.
Tiny, we love our house, our secret house.
It's a secret.
It's all right, they're not going to tell anyone.
Lovely donkey.
Our friend Donkey.
I'm a tot.
Je suis une Tots TV.
Tom.
Tiny,
We stay together every day.
1, 2, 3, boom.
I'm a tot.
Je suis une Tots TV.
Tom.
Tiny, we take our magic bag with us.
Sac magique, sac magique.
Elaine, it's a secret.
It's time to go now.
Come on.
I'm a tot.
Je suis une Tots TV.
Tom.
And Tiny,
Off we go together now. 1, 2, 3, boom. I'm a tot.
Je suis une Tots TV.
Tom.
And Tiny,
Off we go together now to see what we can see. What will we see?
Qu'est-ce qu'on va voir?
What will we see? Oh, hello, Tilly. Hello, Tom.
Bonjour Tiny.
Hello, Tiny.
Hello. Oh, isn't it a lovely day?
Oh oui alors. Oh, Tiny.
What?
Regarde sur ton pull.
What? Something on my cardigan?
Oui.
Where?
Look.
Oh, yeah, look. There's a little animal on my cardigan look all crawling about.
Hey, Tots.
Yeah.
That little insect is all red with
Yeah.
little black spots.
I know, Tom, but what is it?
Je sais.
You know, Tilly?
Oui, c'est une coccinelle.
A little ladybird.
Oh, a little ladybird. Hello, little ladybird.
Bonjour coccinelle.
I like ladybirds. Oh,
Oh,
it's flying.
oh,
Where's it flying to? That naughty ladybird landed on Tilly's nose.
Et ça chatouille.
It's tickling.
Uh-oh, it's flying away.
Where's it going now?
Where's it going to land now?
Oh, no, stop.
Look, Tots.
Yeah.
That little ladybird landed on my ear.
Is it tickling?
It's tickling me.
Sur ton oreille.
Oh, it's flying away again now.
Hey, where's it going to go now?
Oh, Tom, Tilly, look. That ladybird's flying away, 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 away.
Au revoir coccinelle.
Bye-bye, ladybird.
Bye-bye, ladybird.
Tots, look.
It's Jane.
Quick, hide.
Yeah, quick. Shh.
The Lazy Lazybirds. The leaves on the plant started to quiver and shake. At first glance, it looked as if there was nobody there. But then the autumn breeze moved the leaves a little, and there, underneath the 3 largest leaves, were 3 fat little ladybirds with shiny red bodies and black heads and legs. They were Billy, Jed, and Snooze, 3 of the best ladybird friends you could meet. They were always together, and if you found one of them under a leaf, you could be sure the other 2 were under a leaf close by. They had become the very best of friends because they had 3 things in common: eating, sleeping, and moving as little as possible. "Move over, Jed," said Billy. "I've finished all the bugs on my leaf and I'm on my way over to yours." He gave a little jump and hopped across the leaves until he was settled next to Jed, munching away. It can be difficult to tell ladybirds apart, but with Jed and Billy it was easy. They both had the same bright red bodies, but Billy had 7 black spots, while Jed only had 2. Although Snooze had 7 black spots too, you could always tell it was him because he was usually half asleep. Said Snooze with a yawn. "That was a delicious lunch. I think I'll just have a little sleep now to help me digest it. He stretched himself out along the stem of the plant, and within seconds he was fast asleep. Meanwhile, Billy carried on munching. He had the largest appetite of the three. He could eat and eat. "Do you know," he said between mouthfuls, "I bumped into a stag beetle this morning, and he was telling me that he walked from the corner of the lane right to our garden before breakfast. Can you believe it? That must have been at least as far as from here to the house. And before breakfast." Both the ladybirds looked at the distance from their cosy plant to the house, which of course wasn't far at all, and sighed. "Well, I never," said Jed, shaking his head. "Some insects are mad, you know. Fancy walking that far and on an empty stomach." "Have you any plans for this winter?" asked Billy, "for when we have to hibernate?" "Well, I've been thinking about it," said Jed slowly, "and I thought we could do what we normally do. You know, just join in with all the others and hibernate together. It certainly keeps us nice and warm." "I hope they find somewhere that's not too far away," came a sleepy voice. "I wouldn't want to walk too far." "I expect they'll be looking for suitable places soon," said Billy. "It won't be long before winter's here. That's another good reason for making the most of all this grub." He carried on munching purposefully. Suddenly, the lazy piece of the three chums' leaves was disturbed by a flurry of wings. Two large ladybirds landed on the leaf above. "Uh-oh," groaned Jed. "It's Mabel and Wiz, our ladybird leaders. Wake up, Snooze." Mabel was a very large ladybird, and she took her responsibilities very seriously. Wiz was her assistant, and it was his job to fly around checking to see if all the ladybirds were all right. Then he reported back to Mabel. "Good afternoon, you three," said Mabel. "I trust you're all well. I can certainly see that you've been getting enough sleep and enough to eat." "Oh, yes, we're fine," said Billy, trying to swallow a large mouthful of food. "Yes, just fine," echoed Snooze, stifling a yawn. "We were just discussing this year's hibernation," said Jed. "We were saying how well it went last year and what a wonderful place you found for everyone to sleep. We thought we'd join you again this year." "Oh, did you?" said Mabel a little sternly. "Well, I must say that's very kind of you." "So, where were you planning on sleeping?" continued Jed. "We were hoping it wasn't somewhere too far away." "Oh, were you indeed?" said Mabel. "It's funny, because that's why I've popped over to see you this afternoon, to talk about the winter sleep. Wiz has been flying around, talking to all the other ladybirds, and we've all decided that it's your turn to find our winter quarters." "What, you mean move around and try and find somewhere?" said Jed with a trembling voice. "You mean stay awake while we look?" added Snooze in alarm. "You mean not eat while we see if there's anywhere suitable?" squeaked Billy. "Yes, yes, and yes," said Mabel. "That's precisely what I mean." "Oh, but we wouldn't know where to start looking, Mabel. You'd be much better at it than us," said Jed in his most flattering voice. "Nonsense," boomed Mabel. "You'll manage perfectly. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a clue to set you on your way. If I were you, I'd try tree stumps first. You can find some wonderful places under the bark." With that, Mabel and Wiz flew up into the air. "Good luck, and don't take too long now." Billy, Jed and Snooze looked at one another and sighed. "Come on," said Billy. "The sooner we start, the sooner we can get it over with. Let's fly off in that direction and see if we can find a tree stump." "Fly?" said Snooze. "I haven't flown for ages. I'm not sure if I can even remember how. Of course you can, said Jed impatiently. Look, you just spread out your shell like this, and then your wings can pop out underneath, and off you go. He rose up into the air and hovered above the plant. Come on, follow me. Billy snatched a last mouthful of food and flew up beside Jed. Come on, Snooze, he called. Snooze was right. It was a long time since he had flown. In fact, the lazy little ladybird's shell even creaked and groaned as he spread his wings and joined his two friends in the air. The red and black trio flew round the bush and across the lawn. Suddenly, Billy paused in mid-flight. Look over there, he pointed. It's a really big tree stump. Come on, let's take a closer look. 1, 2, 3. They landed on the edge of the stump. Oh, thank goodness for that, puffed Snooze. That's quite far enough for me, thank you. Oh, this looks perfect, said Billy as he walked around the top of the stump. There's plenty of room between the tree and the bark for hundreds of us to fit in really easily. His voice echoed back to the others as he walked under the bark. Oh, yes, it's lovely and dry and warm in here. This is definitely the place for us. He reappeared on the other side of the stump. I can't think that Mabel and Wiz will find anything wrong with this as our winter quarters. Well, I can, came a strange voice. I think they might find it a bit crowded. Another ladybird appeared from under the bark, right next to Billy. What do you mean by crowded? Said Jed. This is where my ladybird friends are going to spend the winter. I found this place first. Oh, yes. Who says? Said Snooze. I do, said another voice as another ladybird appeared. And me, said a third. And me, said a fourth. Before the three friends knew it, they were surrounded by indignant-looking ladybirds. All right, said Billy quickly. We get your point. This is your hibernation spot. We all hope you'll be very happy here. The group of ladybirds waved their feelers at him. You wouldn't happen to know of anywhere else we could try? He asked politely. Well, you could try the house over there, replied one of the ladybirds. It's got a nice big attic. You might be able to find a quiet spot under the roof. Thank you, called Jed as the three friends took off again. Sorry to have bothered you. That was nice of him to tell us about the attic, puffed Snooze. It doesn't look too far away. The three ladybirds had reached the house by now. They settled on a bush outside the kitchen window. That must be the attic up there, said Jed, pointing to an open window high up in the roof. Let's go up and have a look. There was no reply. He looked round. Snooze had settled down for a quick nap on a soft furry leaf, and there was no sign of Billy. Jed looked under the leaf. There was Billy with his mouth full. Oh, come on, you two, said Jed impatiently. We're never going to find anywhere at this rate, and I could do with a rest too, you know. Sorry, Jed, mumbled Billy, and Snooze shook himself awake. Right, up we go, said Jed. What? All the way up there? Gasped Snooze. I'm afraid so, Snooze, laughed Billy. You're really going to have to get those wings working now. A few minutes later, 3 puffing ladybirds arrived on the attic windowsill and peeped in through the window. They could see a large, dark room with lots of beams and rafters. This looks perfect, said Billy. We could all sleep along the rafters, snug and warm in the roof with nobody to disturb us. Let's take a closer look. Jed and Snooze flew down onto the floor while Billy investigated the roof. Oh, yes, he called down. This will do just fine. I'm sure Mabel and Wiz will approve. Suddenly, the silence was shattered by the sound of feet running up the stairs. The next moment, the door burst open and the light snapped on. Jed and Snooze were left blinking in the sudden brightness as into the room came 4 children. They just missed the 2 ladybirds as they raced across the room to pull open their toy trunk. A teddy bear whizzed past, almost landing on Jed, and a bright yellow ball bounced perilously high into the rafters. The ladybirds were in the playroom. "I'm getting out of here," called Billy. "This is no place for a ladybird." "Wait for us," said the other 2. No sooner had they spoken than they heard a high-pitched whistle. Hurtling towards them was a toy train. They were standing right in the middle of the train track. Billy had never seen Snooze move so fast. His wings whirled so quickly that he shot right up into the air and almost collided with Billy on his way to the window. The 3 ladybirds made it to the safety of the windowsill, where they stopped to get their breath back. "Phew! That was a close shave," said Snooze. "I'm fed up with this," moaned Jed. "I don't think we're ever going to find anywhere. Let's just go back to Mabel and Wiz and say we've failed." "I don't think she's going to like that," said Billy. "She thinks we're lazy and useless already. I bet if we don't find somewhere, she won't let us join the others this winter. Just think how cold and lonely that will be." "You're right, Billy," said Jed reluctantly. "We'd better keep on looking." "What about the old barn down there at the end of the garden?" said Snooze. "That would be warm and dry." "But there's the barn owl that lives there," said Billy. "I don't think he's very friendly. He's always on his own in there." "He might not see us," suggested Jed. "It's worth a try." "And it's not far to fly," added Snooze. So the daring trio set off again. Swooping down from the attic was certainly a lot easier than flying up to it. They landed on the edge of the barn door and looked in. It was a lovely barn, just right for ladybirds to spend the winter in. "Shall we fly inside and take a closer look?" whispered Billy. The other 2 nodded their agreement. In they flew, darting underneath the door and landing on the beam in the centre of the roof. They waited for a moment until they became accustomed to the gloom. "Oh, yes," said Jed. "This is definitely the spot." Just then, all 3 ladybirds realised they were not alone. A large pair of unblinking eyes were staring at them from the corner of the barn. "Twit-twoo!" went the barn owl. "How can I help you?" Began Billy nervously. "We were looking for somewhere for us and several hundred other ladybirds to spend the winter. We need somewhere warm and dry, and your barn seemed perfect. Of course, we'd be very quiet because we'd all be asleep all the time." "That's rather a shame," said the owl, "because I get lonely in here with no one to talk to. I was rather hoping that if I shared my home with someone, then they would be good company. I love to tell stories, you know, all about when I was a young owl and went on my travels." "Well, we could be very good company until we go to sleep," said Billy quickly. "We're looking for somewhere now, but we don't need to go to sleep for quite a few more weeks." "Well, that could work out very well then," said the owl thoughtfully. "I could probably tell you all my stories in a few weeks, and then I could keep an eye on you while you slept through the winter. That would give me a chance then to remember if I'd forgotten any of my tales. If I had, then I could tell you those in the spring when you woke up." "That sounds wonderful," the 3 ladybirds chorused. "We'll fly off now and tell the rest of the ladybirds." "Right-ho," said the owl cheerfully. "I'll see you back here first thing in the morning then. We can make an early start, and mind you're in a good listening mood. I like an attentive audience, you know." "See you tomorrow," called the ladybirds as they flew off. "What luck," laughed Billy. "We found the perfect spot to hibernate in." Yes, agreed Jed. It's warm and dry, and we'll be able to listen to the wise owl's stories as we fall asleep. It's definitely better than being attacked by an angry colony of rival ladybirds or run over by a toy train, said Snoo sleepily. He was feeling quite tired and was looking forward to a nice quiet nap. But of course, the ladybirds first had to find Mabel and see what she thought about hibernating in the barn. When they told Mabel where they were to spend the winter, she was very impressed. "How did you manage to persuade that grumpy old owl to let us share his barn?" she asked. "Oh, he's really quite lonely," said Billy, "and he could see how hard we had worked to find somewhere to hibernate." "And he's even promised to tell us stories," said Jed. Mabel and Wiz were thrilled. "I think we'll let you find our winter hibernating place every year," said Mabel. You can imagine what Jed, Billy and Snooze thought about that idea.
Oh, Tom, Tilly, that was a really nice story. I really enjoyed that story.
Oh oui, et comme elle est belle, la coccinelle.
Yeah, all about a lovely, lovely little ladybird.
Yeah. It was a really lucky ladybird as well, wasn't it? It was lucky.
It was a very lucky ladybird.
Oh, Tom, Tilly, I really like ladybirds now.
Yeah, I do
Moi
too.
aussi.